Hello everybody, it's PC Pancake. Welcome to a very polite commentary. Thanks for clicking. This isn't actually going to be a commentary. When you see the score, you're going to realize that I needed some cheering up. So I brought out one of my all-time favorite jokes. Sometimes you play in a match by yourself without your regular team or crew, and things are going okay. But then at the end you realize nobody else on your team had a decent game, and everybody on the other team had like the best game of their lives. And I'm always happy to play in those matches because everybody needs to be having the best game of their lives sometimes. And if you lose, you can at least look on the bright side and realize that you've helped somebody enjoy the game. That's why I very rarely rage quit. And I usually say, oh, well, at least they had a really good game. Because honestly, people who rage quit just ruin it for everybody. Okay, so, this is a true story. As it so happens, I heard about it from a friend of a friend of a friend of mine. These three guys are in a plane, and it crashes in a jungle. There's a young man, a middle-aged man, and an old man, or an old coot. They all get captured by this tribe. They get thrown into a bamboo hut, and all the tribesmen are all wearing loincloths and jumping around and dancing, basically like idiots. Well, they're getting tired of waiting in this cage, and like days go by, and then, like the chief is ordering them just to have bread and water. It's just pretty rough going. Anyways, one day the chief comes up to the cage, and he crosses his arms, and he plants his feet, and he flexes his impressive and well-oiled frame. And he looks at the young man, and he says, "You have two choices," he booms. "Death or Bunga." And the young man looks at his fellow captors, and he shrugs. He reflects that he has his whole life ahead of him. And he says simply, "I choose Bunga." The chief declares to the village, "Bunga!" And the whole village erupts in cheers of "Bunga, Bunga, Bunga," and jumping and dancing. And the young man is carried to the center of the circle of men wearing loincloths, and his clothes are ripped off, and he is bent over the ceremonial stump, and every single villager has a go at him, yelling "Bunga, Bunga, Bunga" the whole time. The young man is eventually thrown unconscious back into his cell. The next day, the chief comes up to the middle-aged man, and he crosses his arms and plants his feet and flexes his impressive and well-oiled frame. "You have two choices," he booms. "Death or Bunga," weeping and reflecting that he still has a lot of good years left in him. He chooses Bunga too. The chief turns and declares to the village, "Bunga!" And the whole village erupts in cheers of "Bunga, Bunga, Bunga," and jumping and dancing. Sure enough, the middle-aged man is carried to the center of the circle of men wearing loincloths. His clothes are ripped off, he is bent over the ceremonial stump, and every single villager has a go at him. There's only men in this village, yelling "Bunga, Bunga, Bunga" the whole time. The middle-aged man is thrown unconscious back into his cell. 2 more days go by, and the chief approaches the bamboo cage, and he looks at the old man, and he says, "You have two," but the old man has seen a full life, and he has been expecting the chief to ask him. And he says, "I choose death," and he smiles. But the chief also smiles. "Death by Bunga!" Alright, I hope you enjoyed that little story. True story, actually. A friend of a friend of a friend of mine told it to me. Let's talk about telling jokes. Maybe you think you suck at telling jokes. Maybe you do suck at telling jokes. But I want you to consider that the best person that you know that tells jokes, they probably sucked the very first few jokes that they told too. And they probably learned a few hard lessons. First of all, if you have a long joke, like the one I just told you, practice it. Make sure you know it. I mean, I've been telling that joke off and on for over 10 years, so I have it memorized. Did I have to delete and start over the very first time I recorded it? Yes, I messed it up. I was like, oh, the airplane, and they're on this airplane, and they're like, who cares about the airplane? They're not getting served nuts on the airplane. It's not a really pertinent part of the story. And that's where some people can go wrong when they're telling jokes. They have too many details, basically unnecessary details. Look at me trying to get this guy with the shield. I can't believe it. Anybody shoots my feet even for 1 second and I'm toast. Oh yeah. So when you are telling jokes, start off small. Find some small jokes, some short jokes, and don't be afraid to not do well. Because guess what? You're probably young. You got a lot of chance to fail ahead. And if you want to be a person that's able to tell jokes at parties or get-togethers, then you need to practice. Guess what? Practice on your friends. Practice on anybody who will listen. This goes the same for commentaries. When I first started doing YouTube, I was much worse than I am now. You know, I'm still crafting my skills. I'm still getting better. And I still feel that there's a long way to go. So I know some of you have been mentioning that you really like my commentaries, and I really am glad to hear that. It always makes my day to know that somebody's looking forward to hearing from me. And I always look forward to hearing from you guys. So please, leave a comment below and have a great day. If you know any jokes, please tell them in the comments. Or better yet, make a video response. I barely get video responses that are on topic. I don't mind video responses. I'll usually approve them. But take a chance. If you got a joke, tell it to me. Put it on your laptop. Make it happen. Start practicing right now. Click on the left if you missed my last video. Click on the right for a random treat. As always, I appreciate new subscribers, and you can follow me on Twitter at PC Pancakes. Have a great day.